Recording.
Please. Take it away, Russia.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much, John, for stepping into the breach here and hosting us. We hope that David Leo Sawa, our fearless leader, will be able to get home his car in one piece. But we carry on. The show carries on. It is May 3rd, 2022, Spoken World Online week number 111. And I'm going to read two pieces for you today. And the first one is by Rusty, our friend Rita V. Rose, from her book, Veranda Sundown. And this is Harbor Eggs. 1. My ship came into harbor, then disappeared, sailed without me as I lingered on the shore, calling out, unguided, and broken as a one-oared boat, paddling aimlessly, trying to navigate to get aboard, floundering in monotonous aquatics of life. I steer one-oared to the distant shore of happiness, unable to port to fulfill my quest. 2. My basket of being has been filled with surprise. Year after year, I carefully crack ample eggs, finding them empty inside, holding naught but a cracked shell of a persistent dreamer, hopelessly waiting to journey, hopelessly praying. Instead of sinking, I will float. So when I was in New York in March, I wrote the big old poem and in a little notebook, and I've been transcribing and editing it. And it's one of the things I like about really big poems is sometimes you can pull bits out. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to read you just the first section. The full poem is going to be called Rorschach, New York. And this part is New York arrival. Map in the mind, territory in the body, culture endless, literary references galore. Took me 61 years plus to move from printed word, recorded sounds, images, archival and quote live, unquote, flickering and pulsing on screens to walk here. JFK arrival early in the morning, a train through Brooklyn, emerged from subway, Midtown Manhattan. Welcome to New York. March 17, 2022, St. Patrick's Day Parade. Queuing to march up Fifth Avenue, above the Korean coffee diner. Endless Irish-American firefighters in best dress, with ancient Hibernians on the cafe balcony in line for the restroom, because the brigades below assembling on the street are ready to march. 11 a.m., have not had a pint. Redheaded lass says, now that's a sin. No excuse not to be drinking. Just a little bit of light rain falling on Manhattan. I watch the parade from the corner, East 44th Street, Fifth Avenue, where the parade begins. Police, soldiers, firefighters, endless marching bands, my new friends from upstairs representing all counties of Ireland march by, moments of silence for the 9/11 fallen. The parade reviewed at St. Patrick's Cathedral proceeds along uptown. A nice walk, one of my diner friends told me, all the way to Fifth Avenue and East 79th Street. a living legacy. Time to check in at the Hotel St. James. Joey, the desk clerk, declares, "You are good people and good things will happen." So back outside on West 45th Street, a block further west, open up Times Square like a living video game, grand computer simulations, immigrants from Asia, apparently in funny costumes, endless Elmos and Disney mice, towering transformers, searching for air ducts, more than meets the eye. By 10 p.m., the Irish, and once a year, Irish are looking bedraggled or roaring drunk outside Connolly's and the Perfect Pint. Blonde women in tiny green dresses, screaming drunk across the street in the heavier rain. Old man in a soggy kilt on his path home. Girlfriends with a grip on their unstable boys guide them towards the subway. Thank you.
A couple of changes. Since there's only a few of us, I'm going to open thing after people read to if anyone wants to make a comment. If they do, please down in reactions, pick raise hand so I can keep it fairly under control, that I'll know who people are. The parade used to go Rorschach to 96th Street, so there was more stuff going, but it still has always been an excuse for Irish Americans like me to be crazy, as if we needed an excuse, to drink too much and to get crazy.
It was, I gotta say, what a way to be introduced to New York for the first time. Got me off on the right foot.
Any comments? Anyone want to throw a hand up, or we go on to the next one? Okay. Once again, I'll mute everyone and if you do not want to be recorded, tell me. I'm just going to run through it and record everyone. If you don't want to, for any reason, tell me when it's time for you to read when I call you. Therese, unmute and go ahead.
Oh, I love that Rorschach, guys. I made a little comment for you. Okay, so this I just wrote. I think it's done. I'm not sure. Excuse me. I keep changing the title. Out of the fullness of his sympathy, the space between. So much evades our understanding, which is a faulty tool at best. Along with all the rest of us, I lack certitude and fit best around the edges where I can make my mark at the start without comfort of assurance. There are words for my belief about the God who comforts me in my grief and fuels my energy to imagine and act, preferring that to faulty interpretations of fact. I need the spaces undefined, and I decline the need to fill the space with certitude or to deny that in the spaces truths emerge in bonds of unity and converge to draw us close. Still, we must wait and listen at the gate of consciousness along with all the rest and wrestle with the pressures that can either overtake us or help define one more time how we understand and partake in co-creation. So, while I am clear in my beliefs and declarations, I stay clear of certitude, which is blind to the endless food for the mind and soul in co-creation. Instead, I circle round and haltingly touch the space which leaves a trace for exploration, fueling ever new creation. Our light is close, we need not fear, and spaces tell us it is clear we never see entirety. The way ahead is naturally within the space we set free. And risking to step off the ledge, my pledge in all humility is to seek the force that lights the way and try again day after day after day for love of you. That's it. Thank you.
I was lucky enough to have seen this in text earlier. I asked if we can use share screen here, because I think that's a poem that's extremely powerful, but you have to read it. I think there's too much just to understand it. This is her poem, and they'll certainly take any.
I mean, I don't want to take too much time, so I think it's okay. We don't have to read it.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay. Any comments or do we roll on? Okay. David, I'm gonna unmute, I'm gonna mute everyone and then David unmute and pick it up.
I'm seeing Holy Spirit.
I can hear you, David. David, I can hear you.
So that's something else on the screen. Okay. I was in Paris last week for a few days. Went to Chat Noir and I met Alison Kohler in her studio and a breakfast with Sue Burge, who happened to be in town. Read at the Chat Noir and met Jack Cooper, who was featuring. I saw Bill. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I think he, probably we crossed each other, or he must have left before I did. And of course, David Barnes. So it's a good session, really good, packed out. So I've done a couple of poems that have come out of that trip, and so this is my flaneur poem. It's a kind of a diary piece, and while I writing it, I had in mind the Moody Blues song, "Dear Diary," from the late '60s album "On the Threshold of a Dream." Kind of an ordinary day and extraordinary times. This is called Postcard from Planet Tuesday. Nothing happened. No one died that I knew on the Pont Neuf by the hand of the police. It didn't rain on me. I didn't get lost. For most of the day, I had no idea where I was. War rumbled on to the east. Refugees still boarded plastic boats and canoes brought from Decathlon, launched themselves at England in hope. Wall Street dropped 3% on fears of a Third World War. On TV, there was talk of coalition politics in France. No one seemed to give it much chance. I met a friend for breakfast, omelette and coffee. I paid the charge and wandered around Montmartre, wondering where Van Gogh drank and where the communards were executed for their heroic stance. At Port Saint-Denis, I bought us a gift of ginseng tea. The Korean lady on the stall scolded, "It's good for you, make you feel better, €20. I hope she's right. And these next, can I screen share, John, please?
She can. Go ahead, David.
It's this one. Right. State of Soul. Something about Paris. Well, I walked around the monumental spaces of places like Quai d'Orsay and the Place de la Concorde, Champs-Élysées, places like Place des Invalides. But my historical take is that the Celts, the Gallic heartland of France, is the original cultural base of Europe. And we don't know much about the Celts, but we know their stories. But what they were like comes from those they came up against, i.e. Romans and Greeks. But reading between the lines, they seem to be much admired. It's called Steel of Soul. Paris, imperial monstrosity, tainted by slavery, yet touched by art, and the knack of making me feel young. No, as if I could belong, unlike the police who sweat and armor up like an uncomfortable occupying force. Why is that? Did it keep some steel of soul by avoiding Romans, facing off Vikings, waiting out Germans, pliant, enduring, the Parisi, still walking among us? And finally, if I can find it, sorry about this, guys. Yeah, there we go.
Do you want to take this down before I put something else up, David?
Yeah, I've got this one here. Can you see that, John? spore.
Okay,
Is that okay? And then I'll go on then.
okay, go ahead.
Thanks. This is from my second collection, Hunter Gang, and it was on David's theme of lightness. It's about contemplating a seed head, actually, like dandelion seed head that we used to blow at school. She loves me not. And I like this idea of, I learned in science that a lot of dust that's released when we walk or when we do things like construction actually never settles. And it keeps going up to the stratosphere and ultimately around the world and maybe into space because it's so light. So this is contemplating a seed head, really. I have spore. I haven't been to this familiar place before. I float as through a dream into not another but a new June, speck on the ring of a planet, of another huge planet, turning towards a new death, certainly. Rebirth, possibly. I'm enveloped in a mystery woven from filaments of a universe, mantle I wear in reverence for all I will never understand as I drift across magnetic fields of its homeland. Thank you.
Anybody? Okay, so go on to Leslie. Just let me mute everyone first. And Leslie, okay, Leslie, unmute and pick it up.
Okay, wonderful that we're doing this. This one is got, these are two new ones and I'm, experimental. This one's called Edge. It comes to this, the end of something, and if you're lucky, the beginning of another, the wide ocean of it, all the possibilities or nothing. And you pause if you have any sense. You either lock yourself in a room, pull the covers over your head, and in the tent made there, the now cloistered space, which allows just enough room to breathe, you sob or walk. And why? Because we do not know how it will go. We sob for our innocence, realizing it is there, the fluttering, frightened bird, unsettled by the too much that finds its way to us and takes nest in our messy existence, believing the boundaries will hold, the knowledge we hope is there, shelter when needed. We are soft when we might be soft or not. It's just that we know the wind will blow and scatter our protected self to the wind, or at the juncture of realization, unthawing to re-enter our existence and fully, freely being in body, take form again. We walk the well-trodden path, or wild as we are, the other path that leads us there to the sea, and at the edge, we look. So the other one is very experimental, so I just don't know how it will go. This one's called A Bag Full of Water. A bag full of water sits in a bowl, waiting to be emptied. It is the choice of the one who sees whether to leave the bag where it is, full, a testament to hope, or spill out the contents. It is yet unknown, the choice, reductive no more. It is the time to expand, either tightening the hold of liquids, either tighten the hold on logic as it exerts its pressure upon us, or release the sluice gates. Reductive no more, it is time to expand. It is a testament to release, to open the sluice gates. It could not be the sheer force of my will that holds the water, that I hold the water level steady as it should be, hold steady through waterways of thought, hold steady the channels of thought by force, turbulent now. Open the waterways of thought as it travels, flowing steady as thought rises and moving in passage. Floodplains on the lowland now saturated, we are not yet underwater. Each to our own devices to open the sluice gates or keep them closed. The control how water moves is surely not ours. There was only one thing left, to at least be fluid and, as water flows, learn the lessons which lives in us, evades us to know water, and only that we are as water, of water, from water. We drink water, bathing water. We will forgive each other that we did not know what we now know, the knowing of forgiveness. Thanks,
I,
everyone.
I like that. And knowing now what we did not know, that flows very well. Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, we roll on. Okay. Ian, if you'll unmute and pick it up.
Thank you, John. And yeah, very good of you to arrange this alternative venue, so to speak. So I hope David's okay. So I'll pick it up on the theme of lightness that David was gave us. My selection kind of ranges from the ephemeral, sort of romantic type, to the silly and kind of thing that I do when I'm bored. So you may be seeing another side of my personality tonight, or maybe not. Maybe maybe you know me already. So this first one's called Dirty Notes Sing Love Songs. Sinatra sings a love lullaby, so tender is the night. You're caught inside its tender trap. It's a long ways away from dirty grime and the rap of reality poking you in the eye. Milking it massively, he massages the ventricles of sentimental hearts. Then Elvis snarls, a curled lip and shaking hips, to roll you about, quaking all over to the rocking beats of grinding sweat. But Sinatra gets in under your skin, romancing housewives hanging on the radio. That crooning voice creeps into their dreams, into the wee small hours. But people do get weary, waiting and waiting for a little touch of tenderness. Those dirty notes that sing of love that hit you when you look the other way. They fall down like soft beating drops of rain. They take you unawares, those unrequited notes, plucking at the heartstrings, moving in mysterious ways. And you are caught once more, picking yourself up from off that killing floor, licking old wounds, memory blank as you pull yourself together from off the ropes. Those dirty notes know how to push all your buttons, playing footloose with your emotions, to raise up all your hopes, only to dash them down again. So that was a serious one. So it's downhill from here on. So this was one I did a while back. It was just called Your Words. Your words are like empty bubbles floating away on the breeze of indifference. They are weightless, empty sounds. Once spoken, they are gone, drifting off into space until at last they go pop and vanish into thin air. It was a short one. This one's really quite a silly one, but it's kind of a wordplay. And I called it real-time rap, but I can't remember why now, but I'll just read it. Yeah. Life often throws up situations which put a strain on social relations, and with other various conflagrations that may lead to oddly strange vibrations, plus all kinds of humming fibrillations to create a violent contretemps. But although this may cause excitations, there is no need for recriminations, just so long as people know their station. There will be times for vindication where everything's open to negotiation. There really is no need to stir things up. In time, there may be felicitations, but beware of possible complications that may confound all expectations and put a spike in any celebrations involving possible intoxication. Humans generally are a feckless lot. And finally, for your information, it's best to make haste all preparations in case of libelous insinuations concerning illicit infatuations leading to unseemly incinerations, with all your delicates tied up in knots.
I haven't heard that much rhyme in a long time. I'll throw something else out that people might not be aware of, although our friends from across the pond would be. There's a French publication that translated some poems that we did about the Ukraine, myself and Bob Zaslow comes here sometimes, and Therese. And it was the first time that it happened to me. So it's going to be in an anthology and whatever. So I asked David, who's been translated into a jillion languages, how'd you get in all these languages? So he sent me a list of translators. And one of the poems is going to be in a Greek thing and Romanian, but a language that I never heard of, the reason I mentioned the people on the side of the channel have, it was just translated into by Finn Hall, does everything in the world. Finn Hall translated my poem into Doric. And if people who have never heard of Doric, Doric is a Northern Scots, either dialect or language. And if you look at it, it reads like Old English. They can make out a good deal of it, and the rest of it might as well be in Greek, but it's very interesting. So if you have any interest in that, go to David, because David has a whole list of people that have translated into everything. The only person who I think may be on the come, the guy from Spain sent me a note. Oh, he loves my poems, going to translate it, and it's a real promoter. He can get me in all different Spanish journals. So I think he may be looking to make a buck out of it. But everyone else is just translated it. And here comes Martin Rochek.
That is cool. Martin knows how to translate as well. I know.
Okay,
John, I got a couple more. I got some sillier ones. Because if you're talking about lightness, there's nothing lighter than a good limerick. And I did a little series on existential limericks, so a bit of a philosophical bent to these. So if I just do 2 or 3 of those. So this one's called Existential Limerick. A philosopher questioned creation and received a dire visitation. When he challenged the one to a duel in the sun, he suffered a swift immolation. And second one, more existential limericks. There was once a man of great presence who claimed he was simply pure essence, but a philosopher insisted that he'd never existed, so he disappeared in a cloud of putrescence. And I'll just do one more silly existential limerick. The ontology of existential limericks. A man who queried being and time was found guilty of a serious crime, and to atone for his sins, he was made to empty the bins, which he proceeded to do as a mime. Thank you.
The only limericks I remember were the ones that were rather off color when I was young that I'd hear from other people, but
yeah, well, I was picking the cleaner ones there, John.
Of course, I never did them myself. Okay, thank you. And once again, we'll mute everyone, and then Bill's going to unmute and pick it up.
Okay, see, some of you may have heard it before, but I tried to be on theme. A quote from Daniel Dennett in a book called Consciousness Explained, postulating special inner qualities that are not only private and intrinsically valuable, but also unconfirmable and uninvestigatable, is just obscurantism. This is called Young in the Mind. There's another world, a different world, and it coexists with ours. And if you can travel far and wide and never leave the bar or the bed or your mother or school or your yard, then this is where you are. Good number of you have never been and probably never will go to this country I'm talking about, but it is right here, and we're talking now, and I wish you could get it straight. There are many who think that the government's real, or that heaven can enter their lives, or that living can challenge the gods and the fates, but reality halters and blinkers their minds, and the dish ran away with the spoon. So brag of your money, your youth, or your screws, your sensitive Arabist soul. You're shutting the door to the penniless world where Victorians dig in the dark and where Martians talk dirty to girls so that mankind won't mean what it thinks. It does serve a purpose, this philanderer's world, a purpose I may not describe, for the spies come in colonies, suck and destroy, and believe what they're spreading is free. So I'll end up right here not having said much, perhaps just too much for your good. Go write it down now, what in childhood they said, and remember the stars in your eyes. Okay. No, that's not the one. Okay, 2 Corinthians 5:17. The old has passed away, behold, the new has come. Confirmation class. Like a shot through the dark, an arrow into the red eye of dawn was birthed into the constructed world, keening to soften the edges and deaden the sounds of the loud and the overly hard and too bright. I wished to sing, I wished to dance, retell the tales that move it all. The masks I wear in dreams and the skin that my dreams might wear are produced in workshops where the daemons fletch desires with the will to strive, to see, to follow dreams along until the end the world decrees, the world of forces dark and formed of steel or stone or out of cardboard cut. When the world split open, letting in the glare, I learned the fear and anger, tangled up with love and sex and all the rest, imagination, faith, and wit, along with being subject to the canniness of cults and cops, the lure of thrills, while still some more awaited me, the things of the mind, the mystery of humankind. Adventure on adventure led into the night in counterpoint to stricture day. At night, a highly colored panorama turning on unsteady axis round a thirst. The day's severe and naked trudge towards a notional entering next to be, a world where I felt lost and wandering, a ragtag sham midst plastic mannequins. Twin specters of desire and should once came together aspiring to rejoice. The joy I sought was also stretched out far ahead but narrowed by an angled view. The glory sought too blandly in distrust of miracles and leaps of faith revealed itself a rainbow riding towards a leprechaun's bright pyrite gold. Those lives seem put away today in a paper diorama with paper walls, a paper box. The people cut out dolls in memory and colored crayon, glued down into place. And is the present any realer in adobe or in clay with nails and rust and a whirl around? We live with a deception long enough to think it true, but in the end we know. And is there magic in the world? Can prayer and ambulance remove a curse? If I escape from this, if money comes or if she'll love me, I will never sin again. Perhaps a savage in a lower land knows ghost words to invoke a bottled gin. Some way to cancel karma might be all I need, a chant, a chicken foot, a feathered fly. The yearning for a voodoo charm is ever present for outsiders seeking colonies. By right of vision, stripped of odor, stripped of discipline and puffed with pride. Oppression of the algorithm pushes us towards a fairy tale, the myth, the poem. Though we might pray the stars to free us of the rumors change, the magic's still just you. And finally, a short one. Oh, this night. Oh, the beginning. Oh, the start. Oh, how we glow in electrical arc. Seize it, seize it. It may never come again. Just for now, we've started down a path. All of this sunshine is suddenly glowing into a world that's now bright and so clear. I laugh for the joy, I laugh for the maybe, I laugh for the happiness swelling and bright. Your beauty now lifts me, I love life more than ever. The past and the future dissolve into now. Nothing is better than this present moment. If we carry it into the future, if it lasts but this once, I shall always remember and hold it in trust for my soul when I ask if I've lived a real life. Thank you.
Phil, you've got such a wonderful rhythm in your reading. I assume that it's the words of the poem that have that rhythm, but I think even if they didn't, so often just the way that you read it is just outstanding. By the way, if anyone doesn't know this, a lot of people don't, I don't know why. You can have your work behind the screen without sharing to us, and you can flip to it. And we don't know that you're reading from something because you're looking right at the screen and you're really looking at the poem, but it looks to us as though that you're looking at us.
Well, that's
I,
what I do. Yeah, and that rhythm, that's the melody that keeps going on in my head.
I put my email address in. If there's anyone that wants a copy of the recording who I don't have their email, just send me email and I'll ship it out to you. Okay. All right, okay, so once again, it's muting and Doc is up. Doc will be followed by Lanton and by Lucia.
Thank you. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. Naked love. Soaring on clouds of joy. Sharing my innermost self, my ancient dreams, my eternal longing. Blooming, blossoming neath your gaze. Crumbling, dissolving at the touch of your breath, the feel of your words, becoming one with the all of you. Labyrinths of imagination. Above the clouds are swirling infinite moments. They converge in fulgent fractals of time, stretch into the forever beyond forever, stravage the alchemy of ancient starry shores, prism into timeless rainbows of life, and fly among wondrous hidden worlds. They unfold through labyrinths of imagination. They explore a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma and become everything. The line about a riddle wrapped in a mystery is from Winston Churchill's speech about the Soviet Union in 1939. Evening pause, pausing for an infinite moment, enjoying the air and the light, enjoying the play of colors in the slow fade of day, watching as rivers of night flow across the ocean of sky, igniting a spangle of stars, gleaming dreams of life and time, carrying the moon into the singing bowl of dusk, flying through dappled magic shadows where play fairies and those to whom night is day, and ancient rhythms of dark fold gently about all. Peace. And I will finish with worlds. Timeless ancient worlds nestled in velvet infinity, a solipsistic serenade of life, eon-old fractals and dreams, a vast satiating flood of light and echoes of the future. They reach across a divide which is and is not, in lustrous incandescence and panoramas of time, which are understood even when they are not. Worlds of vertiginous colors, deep-throated glimmers of sound, and the geometry of song, unknown and untold, in the symmetry of words and the now of forever. They exist as all exists, in resonance and rememory, in the self-awareness and thought of a wabi-sabi multiverse, hidden in the somewhere and somewhen of possibilities and dreams, an exercise of existence on the far side of entropy. Thank you.
In your second poem, Doc, when you mentioned the Russian mind, I just saw here in the United States, there's some criticism, and it goes back to the 40s. What FDR should have told Stalin, and it was exactly right, but it's a little late to be bringing that analysis to the Ukraine problem now. But
Well, it's a matter of woulda, coulda, shoulda.
yeah, right.
It's far, far, far too late.
Yeah.
And just to let you folks know, I was asked to appear on a panel of poets laureate from around the state of Ohio in front of the National Federation of State Poetry Societies annual meeting to discuss the power of literary citizenship on June the 24th. And the very next day, I am to convene the first ever poetry contest or event at the Ohio Scottish Games in Berea, Ohio. That's on June the 25th. I'm going a little bit crazy.
The Ohio, did you say?
Ohio Scottish Games.
The Ohio Scottish Games, huh?
Yes.
Maybe you can bring Finn over and he can speak in Doric to them. Why don't you put the events and any links up in the chat, Doc, so we'll all have them.
Unfortunately, the one may be available online, the National Federation of State Poetry Societies, but even to attend online, it's $75.
You probably won't have much of an online audience, Doc.
and the Ohio Scottish Games will not be online, unfortunately. So unless you're in the area, either in Columbus, Ohio, or in Berea, Ohio,
you're out of luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought you folks would be interested.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to mute everyone, and Lanton, you're going to pick it up with Lucia on deck. And you're also out of the dark, Lanton.
I'm out of the dark.
Oh no, you're on twice, and the other one's in the dark. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, John. And like everyone else, I'm really happy that you decided to host this event. Giving praise to the eternal. My mind's unreceptive to the light of the sun. My heart is heavy with the cares of tomorrow. The eyes, though open, gaze without luster, seemingly lost in bemusement. I know that heaven has showered my soul with beauty, adorned me with rays of the most peerless kind, yet the emotions are tinted, covered with layers of unabandoned regrets. I dwell in an abyss of past sufferings which still haunt my present, leaving a current world of uncertainties, checkmating myself on chessboards, looking aimlessly for knights and queens yet to manifest themselves. If only I was adorned like rainbows, a child that sits on clouds bedecked in silken raiment, with diamond crowns and golden trinkets as my opulent companions. Alas, little did I know that sunrise and sunset will inevitably merge as one. Love's light was burning, a steady flame in the inner lanterns of the soul. As such, I became complacent, walking backwards like Lot's wife, and became a pillar of salt, too saline within to remove my ancient scars. Yet in your mercy, you have shown me a way. I now know that love is the medicine to transform regrets. The bewildering light giving fragrances to roses, make leaves cascade grandeur in the rose pink of falls. It's been a hard struggle, yet I know by faith that I am light, a golden beacon in this realm of darkness. I need nothing else, for you have given me the tools necessary to manifest your glory, the courage to endure the trials of life. Stifling my feelings was never a good idea, as the pain remained and like thorns on roses reminded me when the problems resurfaced. Now, like a valiant knight, I can drift between courage and fear repeatedly without forgetting the light. My nights are no more restless, and regret has become simply an obstacle I just needed to let go. Now I unfurl with the beauty of flowers, shine in the radiance of moons and stars. I hear the minstrel's bugle blow, whip with the soul of 1,000 lovers, all giving praises to the eternal, with me calling out thy name. That's poem 1. Poem 2 is Life Struggles. Life colors my desires with unfulfilled expectations, resulting in struggle. I indulge my cravings, unaware that progress lies in the skirmishes I encounter. As such, I die daily in an abyss of loneliness and fear. I'm drawn to sad songs, constantly making beds for my despair. Yet the same dance of light, concealed within the darkness of my Pandora's box, becomes the inner alchemist at the gates of my open sesame of treasures. She weaves thorns for my sorrows to salute my roses of joy, carries me in my shadows. This foggy conception of truth walks with me into the luster of moonlit rays. Sunset eventually fades, but doesn't Andromeda swallows the night with grandeur? My mind's red hot with worries, even as the glimmer of stars whispers a twinkle in the heart. I affect Mother Gaia by the vibrations I offer to her. To the drunk, a man in trance appears inebriated, yet to the saint, he's a lover, intoxicated by the bliss of paradise. The mother in labor knows only pain until she holds in her arms the most beautiful miracle of creation, life. A thorn is the harbinger of wisdom, adversity a messenger of light. Twilight may welcome my loneliness, yet dawn heralds an awakening sunrise. We are all unique dreams of love, yet struggle is necessary. The child encounters strife in crawling and walking, is burdened by wet nappies and poo. It hungers for mother's milk, yet lives spontaneously, trusting the sacrament of the present moment. In my quest for meaning, I face many challenges. For without shadows, there is no perception of light. Without the hills, there will be no valleys. Pleasure is followed by pain, and I treasure happiness only because I have experienced sorrows. I am an emperor, lost in a sea of illusions. Love, in its mercy, gives me choices, even while holding on to the cords of my limited freedom. I stray like lost sheep into the ways of ignorance until she reins me in so I can swim or bathe in the mansions of effulgent light. Never give up. We are neither shrouds nor graves, just as the light becomes brighter when the day dawns. There is a stream of living water which satiates the agony of longing, and I must drink, for my spirit will never die. The fire of the heart cannot be quelled, and the intensity for inner fulfillment still burns brightly in the soul. Hope, the songbird of perennial freedom, ever whispers her supernal songs, heralding sweet visions of tomorrows, constantly and patiently pruning the weeds of my inner garden so that my fuchsias and petunias may shine with glory. Life for me is full of challenges, yet as the rain of mercy permeates the soil, so too I will eventually get a bumper harvest. The dark night of the soul is only troubled by brittle chains, awaiting the messenger of the light to untie its fetters. So come, my friends, let us sing with the songbird of the eternal. Love struggles are only snowflakes blowing in the wind. The wise see the blossoming flowers of Jerusalem, even when the shadows are dense. Give me your hands, O bevy of phoenixes. Love is eagerly awaiting to welcome you home. Lantern Carrier, thank you.
It's a combination of emotion, spirituality, and paradox. It was terrific. And Doc sent me a note that he heard me humming because the host isn't automatically muted when I mute everyone. And the reason for that was you put two words together that I couldn't get out of my mind. It's from a song, and someone may remember the song, Sunrise, Sunset. What was that song that stuck them together in a song, Sunrise and Sunset? So terrific.
I'm happy I touched you in that
It's
way.
from Fiddler on the Roof, and it's titled Sunrise,
By
Sunset.
sunset, right.
Okay.
It's a beautiful song. As
Yes, it is.
And,
It was beautiful.
and his whole poem just flowed like that, in and out of paradox and emotion and spiritual things, and boom, gone and then back.
Yeah.
It was terrific.
The light and shadow are both with me in everything. According to Monotita, the Lantern Carrier.
Thank
Hey,
you very
Lantern
much.
Carrier, what is the scene behind you in your background? I've just been curious for a long time.
It's the only flame in the world. It's ours. I'm from an order called the Sri Chinmoy Center International, and this is an eternal flame at the port of Norway, Oslo. It's constantly burning.
Ah, indeed.
There was an upcry from the locals who said it shouldn't be at the port. So we've had to move it, but it's still in Norway. It's an eternal flame. Yeah.
Good to find out. I was curious.
Designed by an American, you'd be pleased to know.
Oh, really? Well.
Okay, I'm going to mute everyone and I won't hum again. So if Lucia doesn't stop me going, Lucia's next, unmute, then Rick and then Martin, and we're home. Go ahead, Lucia, pick it up.
Yes, thank you. I have two poems. I would like to use share screen if it's possible.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, my first poem. Yes, my first poem is Music of All Languages, dedicated to Boris Johnson and to all politicians in the world. I am from the east and south and north, when the wind dances so slowly, and is singing the story of its people. The fields, like in England, are green and shaggy. The clouds are whirling on the sky, and the sky is so fragile and blue, like my soul, which is keeping the entire planet. But you don't understand this because of your inner deconstructions revolution. Mr. Boris Johnson, I am just a woman, staying in front of a strong man. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? My powers are only my words. Words. What can I do? What can I do? On the streets there are many conflicts. A special culture fights against another one. Everywhere is a fight, yes, a fight. Mr. Boris Johnson, I am not a terrorist. I am a European. Domnule Boris Johnson, nu sunt o teroristă, sunt o europeană. Signor Boris Johnson, no soy un terrorista, soy un europeo. Signore, io non son un terrorista, io sono un europeo. Curie, then am I promocrates, am I europeos? I am from the east and south and north, when lambs are jumping with happiness, and peasants knit ancestral clay with their hands, worked hands. The door of their soul is open for each human, because my country is Romania, when Bunkush crushed the stone to make his golden bird flying over the world. My country is Poland, when Chopin touched with his fragile fingers the sounds of our nature. My country is Germany and Britain and Ukraine and Italy and Spain, 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 when Picasso and Salvador Dali painted. My country is Denmark and Greece and because I am a Muslim, Buddhist, Jew, Muslim, Christian. Yes, Mr. Boris Johnson, I am a European. I am a European, and in my veins are flowing the musics of all languages. Thank you. This was first poem, and the second one, The Old Man by Lucia Daramus. A white thought was offered to me, blooming out in my mind, as a flower, such a flower as may, from a pretty rose tree. In my mind, it was an old man, very old, offering to people thoughts flowers. Maybe their ideas will unite in soul peace for this earth. I am a man as any other man, he said, and my heart will bloom for eternity on this soil, on this earth, and I reject wars, fights, and bad debates, because my soul is crying now for all women and children of Ukrainian land. I know this old man from my mind. I met him yesterday on the street. He was polite, talking with humans about peace, but his soul, beautiful soul, was crying for our world. Oh, Russian, he said, soldiers, don't leave your bombs to fall down on the grass. The grass is so fragile and will die from each garden of our planet. Putin, your thoughts are paranoid. I'm so sorry for you and your actions. Tolstoy, Pushkin, Dostoevsky will cry and will eat mud and blood, Ukrainian blood, in their tombs. Putin, you have a big culture, respected culture, but you, Putin, will destroy this. You will wash your culture in blood. Genocide, blood, tanks, tombs on the streets, deaths, elders crying, children lamenting, and deaths. Putin, you dig in this soil of Europe graves, tombs, indestructible fire. You Putin like Pilate, you have on your hands Ukrainian blood. Like Hitler, you will kill people, innocent people, civilians. Are you Putin and your army a contemporary Nazi? After his words, the old man gave me a rose with a heart, his smile heart. Rose, 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 in love delight, dancing in people's minds like his beauty bright. But, oh Putin, your thought is dead. Thank you.
Very powerful, the second one about Ukraine, but the first one, right in the middle of it, where you mentioned a woman uh, being not someone that Boris Johnson might pay attention to, reminded me of something. On Sunday, the first Sunday of every month, I host something called Poetic License. It comes out of Boston at 4:00 Eastern, and it's run by a woman named Janet Cuppers, who is the publisher of two magazines. And both Therese and I were there this week, and she just happened to read something from one of her own books. And apparently during the pandemic, there were women who were taking the normal vaccines, and even if they're on birth control, all of a sudden their periods reopened or they were spotting. And some woman, another one, gave a mention that she was 70 years old and her menstrual cycle started again. And apparently this is an unknown thing, but hasn't been researched. And then Therese said that when she was working with AIDS victims, the same things happened to women that just no one knew about. And so we have difficulties, whether we're black, white, male, female, Ukrainian, or whatever. And there are things that go on in this world that we don't know about. Teresa, you want to add anything about what was said yesterday?
Well, I actually ordered the book because it was quite a good poem. But I had never heard, I hear a lot, I work in public health, and I heard nothing of the fact that women have different symptoms based on COVID, and that the 70-year-old woman who started her menses all over again. I mean, these are serious things. And the same was true with AIDS. I was sort of like a pioneer. I created a lot of programs for AIDS, and we did a lot for women. And if it weren't for ACT UP, women would not have even received the medication. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff went on there. But women's it's like it's the same with alcoholism. You know, like there are differences. For every one drink that a man has, a woman is really having two because we don't have the water weight. So as a result of that, women have early breast cancer. They have other kinds of illnesses. They die earlier. I mean, you know, the gender differences are important. I think the difference for me is, and the poetry and what we're saying is, there are real differences that we have to attend to, but so many of these differences in terms of culture, they're created. These problems are created. Like they're meant to be enrich us, you know, these differences. And even the borders of countries, these lines we draw, they're fake. They're constructed. Who owns property, really? You know, everybody dies. Like, how long do you own property? You know, till you're dead? There's such big questions that we face. And I appreciate, Lucia, your poetry, because you're always drawing attention to those things. And I like your repetition, too. Because I think sort of like a rose is a rose is a rose. Like, you have to pay attention to what you're saying because you keep saying it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry I talked too long, probably.
Okay, well, it was important. Thank you very much, Therese.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna mute everyone, and Rick's gonna pick it up, followed by Martin, and then we'll open it to discussion before I go off. Go ahead, Rick, unmute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my friends. Speaking to the point that Therese just raised, I'm going to talk about the duality that is a unity. This is called the conservative and liberal mind. The divisions between what conservatives and liberals find are only as wide as the narrowest mind, and never so deep so as to keep at bay the warrior's hand or the diplomat's play. These both, it seems, can hold quite dear a mother's love, a baby's tear, yet differ so in the country's steer. They both cherish and hope, and hold to the breast a youngster's hope and elder's rest, yet with party and polity so contest. The cherished dream, the path so grand, will part these friends, confound the trends that each would nurture, shared goals, split ends. Each holds his party dear to his heart, yet seems so to differ just in the art. Who governs best would govern least, and nourish health and wealth concede. They both despair of the moderate stare. Those great gray mumblings wander and seem not to care, unabashed, unaware. And while quite glorious and passionately we play our part, with our honor high and our rhetoric smart, jousting up another hill with a will, all toward the party's coffers thrilled, with pennies we'll build a wall apart, with the threadbare honor and the lawyer art. Each with his plan, each with his hopes, in party thick and misanthrope, mutters and marks the passing throng, who seem not to notice, not to belong to the party, the team, the banner, the cure. No pledges they're signing, no pamphlets allure. Conservatives and liberals find they're only as divergent as the narrowest mind. They both cherish freedom, they both really care. They just see a different road over there. One says laissez-faire, one says c'est la vie, a mere mortal matter of vowels, portentous difference of cadence. They flail at ennui. Vive la différence, I'm wont to say. They've both been to barter for bread, same as me. One cherishes liberty, just like the other. Both warm to the fire and smile to the lover. While judges may judge and legislators wrangle, they both stroke their spaniel and brush their daughter's tangle. What do I hope to contend with this verse? That neither are wiser, both heir to the curse of time weighing heavy. The slipping sand hardly stays, while we all light our candle and aim toward the day. This next one is about a progressive activist who dared, I swear, he dared to question a congressman's judgment. And he called him on the phone and said, you know, you want to tamper with our schools? Are your kids going to public schools? Are you tampering with the schools that your kids go to, or just the ones that our kids go to? And something very funny happened. This is called The Flute Man is Free. He dared to criticize, did he? The righty warrior's lordly scorn deterred him not one turn. Called the flute man for compassion, called he for sympathy. Spurned by minions lowly, he urged consideration of the nation's trouble and vision, and for all his efforts he was pinioned by the powerful servant's double vision. Though with lies and scurrilous charges weighed they, his purposes made solid stony stood he. His comrades rallied round, he stood that lonely, solitary ground. Voices roundly raised came to vibrant sing and praise his song. The court stood in awe and was rightly stunned by the crowd of voices loud upraised who'd come. The crowd conveyed his name's esteem, and at its high tide turned fame. More friends than George Bailey's bounties found stayed they in his honor against the cruelly conned and crunched, complains condemned, upraised by friends. His gentle ways they told. They came to defend this man of gold, man's friend. No savory fame sought he, just the cause of compassion fought he. In all the tossed messages lost, against they threw their little lies, these impudent spies, despise, decrying a simple, gentle truth, loudly scorning they the activist. They might as well denounce the rising tide in their ranky ship of lies. Turn the burning flame of truth from its righty, mighty road. He stood, and triumphant played his notes of truth midst the swirling symphony of friends. Who stands behind the man befriends, defends his noble valor, sending forth in fluty flight the truth. He was released. And then this last one, again, all to the light. I'll be brief. It's called The Poet's Place. A poet's place is in the rhythm and the pulsing rings within him. Take that beat within and out, then the singer raises up a shout, stomp the feet and spin around, charmed by the eternal, vernal, transcendental song. They called the music of the spheres that kept us spinning through the time that years begat, like Sufis in their sacred spinning of psychedelic rockers, fingers twinning, swing round the sacred fire, what the ancient dreams conspire. Lift those dreams, those wings, those beats within. Oh, then, my friend, how the senses swim. Like a babe, her arms outstretched, spinning in the nursery. What the heck? The same impulse consumes, costume conjoin. What conjured in this tiny human the innate shamanistic knowledge of a druid? On the dance floor, around the fireside, ancient wisdom surges in the present, congeals, collide. The truth is all the universe is spinning. Spin your partner, now you're winning. Spin each other around like the solar system, held in universal gravity's royal clout, spinning round until you're unsteady. Now bless my soul, we're nearly ready. Thank you, my friends.
Rick reminded me of something, and since I only read one poem in the beginning, at the end, after Martin, I'm going to respond to Little's. Okay, I'm muting everyone. Martin, I don't know you from where you've been before. Tell us something about yourself, where you're from, and.
So I guess I was invited by Bill, and which is very nice of him, and. I was born in Prague, Czechoslovakia. I grew up in the US though, from age 6 on. It is relevant to the poems I'm going to read. I apologize to Bill because I think he's heard all of these, but.
It's interesting that you mentioned Prague, because one of the places that we got involved in something with Poetizer the John Lennon Wall in Prague has been the
Sure.
home to the posting of thousands of poems from around the world, where
Sure.
people have sent their poems to Poetizer, who has then printed them and had them arranged there.
I see. Huh.
Take
I've
it
seen
away.
the John Lennon Wall, but I didn't know about this story. Yeah.
Send me your email.
Anyway, now
I'll
I'm
send
a theoretical physicist, and I teach at Stony Brook. But I also am still writing poetry, and the poems I would like to read are all translations from a Czech poet, singer, songwriter. I'm going to put his name, put the link to him, Wikipedia link to him. He was, well, the story is too long to tell right now. I'm going to read 3 of his poems or songs. I'm looking for someone who would like to sing my English translations. I unfortunately cannot sing. And if anyone knows anyone who'd be interested in recording these, I would like to. I've done 29 of his. I'm going to do 3 of them. 2 are kind of relevant to what's going on in the world. Well, they're all relevant to what's going on in the world in different ways. Again, I apologize to Bill. So the first one was written in 1968 when the Warsaw Pact invaded Prague or Czechoslovakia, and there were tanks on the street in Prague. I wasn't there. We escaped in 1960, so I only watched it from outside. Yeah, it's a song, and it's called "So You Are Here Now." So you are here now, brothers with the blood of Cain, messengers of night sticking her daggers in our backs. So you're here now, brothers Slavs, grandsons of Stalin, not with yesterday's cheering, today without lilacs. So thanks for your iron doves of peace above our heads, and thanks for your kissing lips, flavored bitter almond. In this country we have loved, what faith we had is dead. On the path crimson rose hips might honor the fallen. Our thanks and gratitude, embraces full of warmth for your fine attitude and shooting down our youth. In our homes, may they please be roofs above your head, witness cemeteries filled with the stench of lead. Spitting on memorials, I know that's a mistake. We were and we shall be remains our hope and emblem. Большое вам спасибо, братья захватчики. Спасибо большое, никогда не забудем, никогда не забудем. The last lines are in Russian in the original, and I left them in Russian. It means, thank you so much, brother marauders. Thank you so much. We will never forget. We will never forget. The second one is a different take on a similar theme. It's called A Hand is a Bridge. A hand is a bridge, and fingers are towers, and arteries this sturdy river. Betrayal which taught lessons of cowards was brought by the cunning deceiver. It's so cold, little friend, raptors are silent, and next door in your land, are they so violent as you are beaten? Bearded scarecrow and crossbones and corpses of animals that have been cornered, fields full of snow with barbed wire fences and footprints that do not lead homeward. Our fields were trampled by horses' hooves, bringing words falling from the sky, vodka shots ringing, and drunken singing. Soldiers for hire performing their duty, those red-armored marauding forces. Faces on fire, again they seek booty, supported by green metal horses. It's so cold, little friend, raptors are silent, and next door in your land, are they so violent as you are beaten, as you are beaten? And the third one is a hymn. I think it would be wonderful if it were arranged for a chorus, a choir. It's called simply Thank You. God creates sprigs each spring, for garlands I might fashion. Thank you for pain life brings, which teaches me to question. Thank you for failure, which has taught me perseverance, that I might give to each, though stress beyond endurance. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Thank you for feebleness, which helps me to be humble. Humble for happiness, and humble though I stumble. For my tears, I thank you, who they teach me fellow feeling. For those who cry and rue the lives which they are leading. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. For longing for beauty, I thank you for ugliness. Thank you that love gently fights malice and spitefulness. For sweetness, the sweetness of my sleep, I thank you for exhaustion. I thank you for sparks and flames that leap, the sound of waters rushing. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Thank you for my thirst, which exposes imperfection. Thank you for my anguish, which helps me find direction. That to me love can come, though fear makes my heart shiver. I thank you, Holy Lamb, who died to be our Savior. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you.
Martin, a couple of things. I put a note to you in a chat to ask you to send me your email. I may have some singers. By the way, Therese, who's next to you on my screen, lives on Long Island. And she's got a terrific voice. So maybe you should hook up with her. If anyone that doesn't know, by the way, down at the bottom of the chat window, there are 3 dots on the right-hand side. If you click on them, you can save the chat to your own computer. So if you'll do that, and anyone once again who wants to get the video, send me your email. I'll send a copy of the video. Rick reminded
Just want
me.
to say hi, Martin. Good to see you. I know Martin
Hi.
from the Angora
Hi,
Poets
Dave.
group out
Oh,
of Paris.
okay.
Hi.
Rick mentioned the ongoing thing about students in schools, and reminded me of a poem that I haven't read here that I wrote recently, A Florida Fable. An upsetting tale has been told that the governor of the land of fun and sun has signed a bill that opponents say really means don't say gay. Whoa, said the Disney Mickey. My closest friend, Goofy, may or may not be of that persuasion. I never asked, but no matter whether he is or not, your bill is offensive. Mickey went on, Disney World is one of the state's largest generator of tax and employer of thousands, and we will fight you. Now it seems that the mouse has lost the battle to a resolute governor. Yet it is possible that the battle is not really over. I have known since I was young that you do not fuck with Donald Duck. Okay, it's open to everyone on mute. Anyone that wants to talk about today's show or wants to put their email in or do whatever, hang around and talk.
Just apparently because of referring to your last poem you just read there, John, Harlan Ellison lasted one morning working at Disney, and he was speaking, I think he was doing a parody of some Disney characters at lunch, and Roy Eisner overheard or whatever, and he was out at the door right after lunch. And his takeaway, when you work for Disney, you don't fuck with the mouse.
Yeah, Harlan Ellison punched out a friend of mine at the science fiction conference, another writer. And when I mentioned that to Peter Andrews, who's been to some of these, he said Harlan Ellison was known for punching out a lot of guys at conferences. So
That's hilarious. And I don't doubt that one bit.
anyone else comment about anything? As long as we're here.
It was a wonderful gathering of such fine literary talent. I want to thank you all. Just marvelous work.
You're
Thank you
absolutely,
so much.
Yeah,
you're
thanks,
absolutely right,
John.
Rick.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
John,
much.
for taking over the hosting, and we hope David gets home okay, but we carried on, and that's really good.
I'll give him a
And,
call after this and to find out.
And Martin, if you can join us again on Tuesdays sometime, that would be grand.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
And
know in general because I'm at work actually, so I'm playing with
Okay,
Martin, there's a whole
It's not
bunch of
necessarily work related.
translations, and if you send me the email, I'll send you the picture of the John Lennon wall too, with all the poems up there.
Sure, I sent you the email.
Okay.
Is David's wall okay?
And I
John?
sent the link to
His
the.
car broke
to-
down,
Ah,
so he was unable to log in.
And by the way, if you go on YouTube, you can find lots and lots of recording of Karel Krell recordings.
thanks, Martin.
Easily available. I guess I should maybe let me give the Czech names of the titles of the songs because you won't find
Yeah,
them
that would be
otherwise.
great in the chat.
Jackery.
Yeah.
Probably not, yeah.
The last one is Jackery.
Bill, thank you for inviting Martin.
I think Martin is an asset,
Absolutely.
not in the CIA sense, huh?
No.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I have to go now. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, me too. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
everybody.
It was
Bye-bye.
really
Us and our
delightful
friends
meeting
are
all
the
of you.
power elite. Don't ever
Oh.
forget that.
Okay, I'm going to close it down then.
Okay, thank you.
Good night,
Bye.
folks.